Here we go. All right. So just as a notation, we've been talking for a couple minutes and I forgot to hit record. So it is November 18th and we're kind of relaunching what we're going to now call the TEAL Specialist Network Group. So and Lisa was just telling us who she is and where she's at. So we'll let you take that away.
Okay. I'm Lisa Reed. I'm a licensed clinical social worker. I've been in the Atlanta area for about 9 years. I see clients in person as well as online. I specialize in folks who are highly sensitive, neurodivergent, and highly empathic. And that brings me to the world of folks with learning disabilities and ADHD as well. Majority of my clients have somewhere had some kind of developmental trauma. I also do discrete trauma work. Probably most of my practice is based on a mind, body, spirit connection. I do a lot of work with energy psychology, with EFT tapping, tappist acupressure technique, hypnotherapy, as well as traditional techniques and that sort of thing. I also integrate work. I'm kind of a neuroscience nerd and love how the brain and body work, and have done a lot of work in training with folks who do that with Dan Siegel and Daniel Hughes, and the neurobiology of of relationships and connection and safety with the body and then between people. So I do individual, couples, families. I work with 15 and over. Youngest client is 15 and oldest client is about 76. And so a span of issues. I like the variety. I spend a fair amount of time in my previous career working in therapeutic foster care. So I have time in that area, and it has a lot to do with trauma and attachment issues. All of those things really lend themselves well to the work I do with everyday people, even if they don't have that kind of background. Trauma and attachment and developmental trauma is just such a part of most people's experience, and really understand the nuances of how that's in the body and the whole polyvagal system. So I really am big into helping people build tools, learn skills to manage vagus nerve toning and nervous system regulation, as well as then using those energy psychology techniques to remove trauma from the triggers from the body at a cellular level, so that they're no longer a part of that. And that can be very quick, couple sessions, or that could take a lot longer, depending on how deep and entrenched it is and how resistant the body is. So I'm trying to think if there's any other pieces to it. I've been a clinical social worker for a very long time, since like 1996. So I've worked in a lot of other areas besides foster care. I've worked in hospitals and schools and alternative locations, mental health, direct community mental health, and a variety of areas. So I feel like very little surprises me that comes my way. And the folks that do find me, for whatever reason, it's usually a pretty good fit. And so a lot of times I find that people come to me after they've had poor success in other modalities or with other clinicians. And again, it doesn't mean that was a bad clinician or a bad modality. It just might not have been the time for them. It may not have been they weren't ready for that. And so for whatever reason, most people, when they find me though, they are beginning to be ready. And if they're not, we can address that and send them on their way till they're ready to come back, if that's the case. So I feel like I offer a little bit of unique services, maybe in the Milton Alpharetta area, but not everybody does. But if anyone saw the Today Show this week, tapping was a feature, which was so exciting to see. That was Jessica Ortner. They do her husband have the tapping solution app, which is pretty costly if anyone wants to use it, but it helps people learn to just on every regular basis help calm the nervous system. And I teach that to people all the time, but beyond that, then you can actually remove triggers and trauma from the body. So
get that processing through.
Yeah. So I love what I do, and I'm happy to be a part of this group. I'm always feeling like I need to have more connections with people, and always looking for additional resources.
Would you say that some of the people who you feel like may have had a not good match before may not have actually been working with someone who specializes in trauma, but just had a general knowledge? I'm asking because I've kind of felt that way.
I would agree with that. I think some folks, depending on their level of experience, they may have come from someone who did EMDR, but they're new at EMDR, or they didn't understand the nuances of that client's needs. So a lot of times I actually do work alongside of other therapists where I just do certain pieces and parts of the trauma work.
Yeah.
Because I can get in, get out, and you can do they can do the more talk therapy with somebody else. And mine includes talk therapy as well, but it's more of the processing of what's coming up through the other parts. But I would agree. Yes, there's a variety of things that they can, but I had one person I thought this was a great quote of, I spent 2 years in talk therapy doing regular DBT or CBT, and it wasn't a really great fit. And in one session, I felt more relaxed with you and had more progress in one session than I'd had before. And then another client once said, I've never had a pill that gave me the experience I got with tapping. So I was like, okay, I'm sold on it.
Right. Yeah.
So, yeah. So, and I think it's just different. And I really do believe there's also a piece of sometimes we're just not, we find people at certain points that we're ready for certain things. And every therapist they've seen could have said everything I'm saying, but they were just ready to hear it this time. Or I said it in a certain way that it just resonated because of the way I also look at how people learn. And so I try to really navigate my therapy to be responsive to their learning style.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. There's so many factors at play. And
really
there's some, there's so many really good therapists too.
Absolutely.
And so that match really comes in and timing, like to your point.
Yeah. And I'm not going to say that I do all realms of sex therapy, but I will say that sexual trauma is where my, is inclusive in my wheelhouse. But I don't I don't market myself as sexual trauma. I kind of just say trauma because I also like to have a variety of work in that arena. But yeah. Thanks.
Well, Jen and I are in a trauma consultation group together. So that's how we know each other. You want to go?
Hi, everybody. Thanks for having us. This is great. Great way to stay connected. So my name is Jen Powell, and I'm an LPC, and I'm also a clinical supervisor at the Anxiety Specialist of Atlanta in Dunwoody. And we specialize in OCD, all anxiety disorders, and I would say in regards to specialty, really the whole spectrum of dissociative disorders, anywhere from, simple PTSD to complex PTSD, all the way up to do some clients with DID, and more of a top-down approach than Lisa. Do a lot of cognitive processing therapy for trauma-related OCD, which has been fascinating. It's been the coolest approach and really enjoyed it. And we do a lot of course, ERP for OCD, all subtypes, and a lot of ACT and CBT as well. I'm fully trained in hypnotherapy, so I'm a certified clinical hypnotherapist. Did that about 3 or 4 years ago, and that's been a cool thing to weave in as well for a lot of individuals that need more body-focused treatment. And I've been doing this for about 12 years. I initially went into it for eating disorders, and I worked with kids for a long time. And but now I'm just 18 and up, really. I've got clients all the way up to 80 years old who, it's crazy, just now, even at this point, they're disclosing sexual traumas that they've never talked about in their whole life. It's amazing. So yeah, that's basically me, and I'm from Atlanta, and living back here, and I've got a little one, and yeah, that's me in a nutshell. Did I miss anything, Claire?
You're amazing. A good person, like a fun.
I try.
You host good lunches.
Yes, thank you. I like to plan events.
Yeah.
Well, I will go next. I am last. So I am Sadal Jones. I'm an LPC, and I have a virtual practice now since the pandemic. My practice moved from face-to-face to virtual completely. And I specialize in sexual trauma in women and girls. And I know Claire because we used to share not sharing office, but we were in the same office. And that's how we met. And we began to do some support groups, trauma support groups together. And then when the pandemic hit, we began to do those virtually. And then that turned into a full-fledged business. And now we are starting a podcast to support individuals recovering from sexual trauma. So that's how I got connected with Claire. And I'm just excited to be in a space where I can have these conversations that only Claire and I understand typically, because I do work from home and I am virtual. So when I'm not in these spaces, I'm usually thinking about these things as it relates to client care and approaches and better ways to assist the clients that I work with, and modalities and things like that. I'm typically thinking of those things on my own in my silo. In my other life, I am a full-time academe. So I work for Walden University full-time as well. And I am in the counseling program, school counseling, specifically in the field experience department. So I help students identify appropriate sites and get through that field experience process of their program. So that's what I do.
Yeah, we've been on a long journey.
Yes, we have. Yes, we have. But it's coming and it's good, and I'm excited about it for sure.
And it's interesting because Sadal hears me talk about Jen and the trauma consultation group, and Jen and them hear me talk about Sadal, but haven't really connected.
Yep.
So
Is your podcast live? That's really cool.
It is. We'll be live soon. We'll be live soon.
yeah,
That's awesome.
we're batching interviews right now. But do y'all know Sapria? It was the Unique Foundation. They've rebranded the retreats for sexual trauma. They contacted us yesterday. So we haven't even launched, and we're looking forward to hopefully interviewing Sapria, because all of this is resources for sexual trauma, whether it's products or whatever. So anywho, and it's another reason why I wanted to reconnect here, because we want to provide some opportunity to be on the podcast for the specialists here. So that's a component. And then another component is that I'm now doing groups, sexual trauma groups. And it's kind of one of those, it's a bit of a hybrid system. It's not traditional. I'm trying to blend like newer thoughts with old processes. So it's a membership. So once people go through the Good Fit membership, then they're vetted and they can go to any of the groups. And so then I'll announce a group. And so we have right now, we did a chat on Tuesday night, which was just a 1 hour, one topic thing. So it's basically so somebody can try out what it's like to have a conversation with other people and to have the support, but not have to have the commitment. And then I started study hall, which is where you bring your homework and we just all do it together. And I play some music and we do a grounding activity and share what we're doing. And you just have the extra benefit of having other people who are doing their work in the space. And then group will start again in February. So right now I have about 12 members. Some are more active than others, but I'm trying to get up to 30 so that we have a good membership to pull from when I just kind of send out a message and say, hey, let's have a chat on this topic. Or what do y'all want to talk about? What do you need to talk about? We're going to do one in December for holiday something. Haven't decided yet. But that group stuff is also, that's where, if I were to say where I need some input or referrals is just paying attention to your caseload and seeing who might fit there. And, I came up with this because I was trying to meet the gaps that I've seen over the past 20 years in sexual trauma groups. And the gaps that I see are time and money commitments, and then also level of need. And so this is trying to hit that option of them deciding what they need, what's best for them. And so they may never go to group. That may not be what they need to do, but they still have a community. And so with that, and with this, I'm going to be expanding to California and I'm going to be inviting clinicians here so we can connect on both sides of the United States. And like I said in the email, I'm hoping that y'all will also have some collaborations. You'll get to know some people and you're like, oh, you're doing this and I'm doing that. And, maybe we can collaborate on something, even if it's on the social media side. So that's kind of my hopes here. Why don't we talk a little bit about what y'all are noticing on the personal side, on your, the processing side of having, trauma clients on a regular basis. Are there things you're noticing lately, maybe in the past month or two, impacts for yourself or things that are coming up for you that you're noticing? So when Sadal and I work together, we're often trying to outrun each other's trauma responses. And it's nice to be able to name that in the moment sometimes. I know I had a moment on Tuesday. I was like, I was about to go get my driver's license and I just had all this anxiety. It was just piling on and I couldn't regulate for a minute. And so even just having the ability to say, like, I don't know where my head's at and I don't know what I'm talking about. I don't know what we're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
So I was just curious what you guys are finding yourself facing lately.
I'll share something. The one big indicator, I'm actually about to be trained in CBTI for first responders in Atlanta and all that good stuff, and work with them on some field work. But when an insomnia starts to kind of play out, when I start to wake up early and with racing thoughts about the day, or maybe this client or that client, that's kind of how, at least for me, it kind of presents. At least, just because there's so much that happens during the day, and don't always have time to process everything that occurs during the day, so it likes to sneak up. So at least for me, that's part of my awareness, is that tends to be kind of indicative that I'm feeling either stuck somewhere, or carrying something, or feeling too responsible for something. But so yeah, if that makes sense.
Feeling too responsible. I don't know anything about that.
I have to fix everything. Yeah, so realistic. So that's me. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah.
I did all of that. I totally connect to all of that. I think one of the things I've noticed, just in general, that just there was one specific week, maybe 2-3 weeks ago, and a number of clients were starting to have psychotic symptoms all at the same time. Like, what is happening? You're supposed to take your turn. And so it just felt like we were a little bit more in crisis and had a lot going on with crisis, and having to then recognize for myself an awareness of, I have to be aware of how much I want for other folks, that I'm so eager and so wanting so much for them, that I have to really slow down and really remember to be present and connect with their current experience, and not what I believe that they can get to and where we're going to go and what's possible for them. And just really, and then that's that moment of, oh, and do that for yourself. Getting back to where we're at. So I have I was at PT this morning, and I have a possible knee replacement upcoming in my life. And so I think it's one of those ones that's, okay, slow down. That's a really good sign to tell you to slow it down. It's
Mhm.
from an old injury from in the 80s, but that, surgery's come a long way, I guess. But I think it's all reminding me to, okay, take your time, focus on making sure you check your priorities. And as you're figuring out, okay, what are your needs, what are your clients' needs, just really checking that.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah, I think I'm in that same space of um, doing a self-check and making sure I'm regulating my own stuff so that I'm better able to kind of, I'm a caregiver for my parents. So sometimes that kind of overshadows, is overwhelming. And so making sure that I'm regulating appropriately for myself, and because I do work from home, and I'm typically in my house by myself in my office, making sure that I am opening myself up to connections and feedback and consultations and all those different things. Because sometimes we can, when I say we, I mean me, get in our own heads, get in our own heads about all the different things that we have going on and trying to be everything and all things at one time. And so it's good when Claire and I have our meetings every week that I get a dose of reality of that's okay. I get permission to not, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the things I really like about where I work is we have staff meetings every Thursday on Zoom, and you just see 18 faces. We've grown a lot the past couple of years, but you just see 18 faces, and it's just the sense of connection and just that everybody's kind of like the conversations we're having right now. It's like comforting, and it's a good sense of community because a lot of us do just work from home, and it just and it's like an hour and a half where you have to just be present and be with everybody else. It's nice.
Mhm. Mhm. Lisa, I think there was the week you're talking about, I had a week that everybody seemed to do the same thing. And then I
It was like
realized
dissociative week. It was dissociative week is
was.
what I mean, I really think, yeah.
It
So
was also election,
yep.
full moon, and
Uh-huh.
solar eclipse.
All of it. Absolutely. Not a question. All related. No, I mean, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that may sound woo-woo, but even in hospitals, they're like, life changes when
Yeah.
there's a full moon.
And I go as woo-woo as you want to go. So for me, it was it was a full woo-woo. And I process that with my clients a lot of the time too, about what all that's about and what just the energy, all the things that are going on. And so how that impacts us, and so some that want to talk about it, we were able to go there because it's like you said, all those items are very impactful.
Mm-hmm. I've been talking a lot about the time change and the it being dark, because it's like I close down and I look up because there's a window right here and it's dark. It's completely dark. And now it's only 5 o'clock, but I can't really go outside and walk or whatever, just trying to find those new places and, get acquainted with a new state and a new city and all those things. So.
Well, I'm looking forward to, I think, having a place for this kind of support. So that's great.
Well, I'm looking for quarterly for now, and we'll see how 2023 goes. I just really enjoyed it the last time, and wanted to create that. I guess I would say I especially because I'm a group therapist, I like creating the spaces. Like this is just a different kind of group to me. But as we wrap up, is there one thing that we could benefit, that your practice could be benefited by? Is there a particular even client that would be a good fit right now? Or I know like some of us have availability, some of us don't. I'm almost full again. And I'll be sending out I'll send out the list again with the recording, the Google Doc. It's been growing. It's a little bit of a mess right now. I'll be honest. My detail oriented self took a look at it and was like, that's a lot of mess, but that's okay. I'm learning how to let go with that stuff, right? So We both are.
I
Yeah.
think we both are, yes.
So is there one thing in particular that from this group that we could be helpful to you with in your practice or personally? It could even be a resource if you're looking for something.
I think having everyone's names, like, and I've already taken notes, and you know, just having that kind of reference and referral. I mean, that alone is a start for me. So I appreciate that.
That's true. Yeah. I like that one, actually.
It's
The
really-
idea of having a referral, I think is good. Having resources and referral resources is good.
Yeah, I find it so much easier to refer to people that you have a connection with and you've at least heard talk about something. And yeah.
I have room on my caseload right now, but I'm actually not taking anyone because I'm actually allowing myself some self-care and giving myself some space, that there's room so that I can kind of do a little catch up while I'm also preparing, because there's, besides my surgery, there's a dog with surgery and a husband with surgery coming. There's a lot of life changes happening with us. I've got a kid finishing graduate school. So I'm at the other end of the life spectrum where kids are about to get, I'll be 100% empty nest by next May, ideally. Everyone off payroll. So, you know, just those life transitions. And so probably beginning the new year, I'll have some more space. I'll open up once I figure out what my physical status is. But I decided to just hold off on, even I had to have new referrals recently and just kind of said, you know what, call me in January if you still need something. So I think just giving myself and anyone else wants permission, that I give you permission to do some self-care now going into the holidays.
Yeah, we've got a good month and a half of stuff coming.
Yeah.
Anything for you, Jen?
One thing that helps me a lot, kind of piggybacking on them, is just referrals for, like, you know, trauma specific or trauma informed psychiatrists and, you know, PCPs and things like that, or psychiatrists that have openings, or, again, like adjunctive kind of therapy, somebody who's EMDR trained and it has openings and things like that, is probably the most helpful, for me, I think.
Okay. Good deal. All right. Well, thanks everybody. We'll just have a nice little quick hello and go about our Friday.
Yeah, thank you for having this and having this idea and creating this space.
Thank you, Claire.
Yeah, thank you. I'm delighted to be a part of it.
Awesome. Well,
Have a great holiday.
we'll shoot for third Fridays, starting in January and then rotating every 3 months. I'll send those dates back out, but January, the third Friday in January is, yeah, my calendar didn't go that far because I still like paper calendars.
Me too.
Let me look and see real quick. I think I can do that over here. Let's see.
That would be the 20th.
Okay, thank you. All right, so January 20th. And is this time frame good? Kind of in the middle of the day on Friday? I know I've had a couple people who would like to do it, have an evening one. And then, you know, we've got East Coast, West Coast, Pacific and Eastern working with that too. So I may have a couple of different time slots. I think I might keep it to 30 minutes for now, you know, for your time commitment and on my side as well. So we'll just see who shows up and use the time we have.
Awesome. Love that.
Nice to meet you all.
Very nice to meet everyone. You guys
Thank
enjoy
you
the
so
rest of your Friday and weekend.
Yeah, you too. Take care. Bye.
Bye.